That's right, man.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I'm a relationship hacker.
Run up and get touched up, suicide. And all of y'all know my style. I excel, then prevail. Run up and get touched up, suicide, that's it. And all of y'all know my style. I excel, then prevail.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know people who follow me on Periscope, people who follow my Instagram. I know I said I'd be gone for 2 weeks. Well, things change. Schedules change. So I said, hey, man, we got to get back in here and do another show. It's important that we do another show in light of everything that's going down, everything that's going on. So, before I even get into today's topic, you know what I got to do. I've got to support and promote black-owned businesses. It's important that we continue to do that. My homeboy, Hassan, from Weed Juice, is not here today. This is the first time in about a year that he hasn't been able to show up. That's only because of my schedule change. I told him that I wouldn't be here, so he's in Vancouver. But listen, you've got to continue to support this brother's juice line. Weed Juice. It's the French word we, O-U-I, right? Weedjuice.com. I love the brother's product. And he supports the So What Morning Show all the time, all day with fresh products. So please continue to support this brother. He's a good brother. And he's a trainer, too. I don't know if he could box up his training and ship it to wherever you are. But if you're in the Los Angeles area and you're serious about getting in shape, you might want to connect with him on that level as well. All right. Hassan McCullough created the Weed Juice line. Please continue to support that brother's line. Also, a lot of people are supporting this company. The owner called me recently. A lot of people are supporting this company, and I appreciate everybody who has and continues to do so. Freedom Paper Company. This brother called me and said they had to basically, and this is what I mean by community empowerment, and this is what I mean by recycling black dollars. This brother said they had to open up another plant in Houston so they can get the products to the people quicker. Another distribution plant. So this, hey, that's what I'm talking about right there. Freedom Paper Company. And let me tell you a little something about these brothers. They have bathroom tissue. They don't like to call it toilet paper. They call it bathroom tissue. Refine your speak.
It is not shit paper.
When waxing your backside.
Toilet.
Yeah, toilet, right? Right? Wale, yeah, that's a dope MC. Anyway, these guys not only provide, bathroom tissue, but they also have paper towels. They also have cleaning products. It's a real situation. Black-owned business, recycled with black-owned dollars. I think it's important to support Freedom Paper Company and do it right now. The reason, let me stop for a second. Today is not only a regular Zoa show in terms of the topic, what needs to be dealt with, but it's also a fundraiser for every business that I'm promoting. It is a fundraiser. You saw Killer Mike tell everybody to take their money and put it out of regular banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, all that, and put it in black banks. And you saw a spike, right? But think about it now. Just a spike. What if all of us did it?
Right.
What impact would that have? I don't know. But I do know it would make some black bankers richer. Now, how do we, now, once we get them rich, How do we cycle that back
get
into
them
the
to
community?
Get them put it back.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it's a good idea. I don't know what the outcome would be, but I know we could say, I'm a black banker. Right?
Don't say that.
There's a whole nother kind of connotation to that, right?
Don't want to say that.
Well, hey, God damn it. Don't kill the point while I'm making it. Tired of that shit.
Tired of you saying that.
Anyway, that's one thing that I think is very positive and very important. To see us do something in mass, right? In mass. So for every business that I support here today, that I promote here today, I want you guys to cash mob every one of those businesses. I want you guys to fundraise by participating in their products, purchasing their products. I want you to fundraise, effectively fundraise for those companies. The first one was Weed Juice. The second one was Freedom Paper Company. The next one is Shepherd's Sweets.
Crack
Yes.
house. No.
Yes, this is
the
crack candy.
Okay, crack candy.
I'm not trying to
That's what she
promote
need to rename it.
sugar diabetes.
It's
I'm
that
not,
dope,
but
though.
She need to rename
It's that
it.
I'm not trying to, do that.
Uh-huh.
But damn,
It's good as hell.
this shit is good as hell. Quick story. I'm up in Oakland. I'm with Marcus King. And Marcus is like, look, man, I've hooked your kid up with all of these major resources for basketball. He said, Zoe, all I need
Your water.
from you
It's the hookup.
is a sweet potato cake.
You don't even know.
And then he was like, because what y'all don't understand about this girl, she makes the cakes for diabetics too. So she won't use sugar, she'll use agave. She won't use flour, she'll use like rice flour or something else. And the shit still comes out retarded. Comes out ridiculous. So she's mastered so he's like, I'm going to need one pro-diabetic version
One pro-diabetic.
and one anti-diabetic version to offset hooking up your boy. So I'm telling you, please support that, sisters. ShepherdSweets.com is the name of the business. Now, somebody else I want you to cash mob. He ain't always nice, but he's always wise. He ain't always friendly, but he's always got a useful word for you.
Don't know shit about basketball.
Don't know nothing about basketball. But
Except how to play it.
But you can't fuck with him on the tennis court. I done seen his ass out there on the
Word?
tennis court.
Okay.
He's like, never mind. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please, 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 cash mob the brother Bobby Glanton Smith. Listen, on the way up here, Bobby is talking some big business that I think is going to add a lot of context to what we're going to talk about today on today's show. Solutions. Solutions that come from the soul. Not no emotional reactive shit, but a deeply centered space that provides an answer or a decision on which way to go. Bobby did some of that work already with Real Men Don't Play. This book is an incredible manual for manhood. Bobby, what inspired you to write this book? Can you talk to them about it briefly?
Well, it starts with the man on the cover, the great Jim Brown. I've had the honor of knowing Jim for over 30 years, and I spent 4 hours with him on Friday night that affirmed once again why he's one of the most special people to ever walk the earth, because at 80 years old, he's still on the front line coming up with ways to bring solutions to very serious problems that we're facing as a nation and as a people. And the other men in this book are equally adept at providing solutions to problems that we all deal with in one way or the other.
And Bobby one of them dudes. Like, y'all don't know, Bobby one of them dudes. Listen, look at my blueprint. If you got a kid, a boy, surround him with people like Bobby or people in this room. Everybody at this table right now, no lie, has had some private interaction with my son, who's currently, in college doing his thing. Every single one. Kev, boxing. talking to him, mentoring him since he was a kid. Doc, sports psychology. Poet, seen him since he was a baby, damn near an uncle in this mug. And then Bobby. Bobby is always in his ear. Brought him to Jim Brown. Brought Jerry West to his game. Everybody in this room has contributed in some way. And you trying to tell me our only resort is violence? Shit. We got options.
Thank you.
We just don't see them options through. So we're going to continue. Let us continue promoting businesses. Dr. G, my good friend. First off, this is my favorite of all. No, you didn't bring my favorite. Where is How to Get Out of Your Own Way?
Give it away.
You had to give it away?
You have a copy, don't you?
I do. That book is fire. I'm telling you, it's fire. And let me tell you something about knowledge. Knowledge doesn't have a race.
Nope.
This motherfucker wrote a book that's on fire. Now, you can be stupid if you want and be like, well, he's Jewish. He's white. Then your brain will not have the synaptic firing that will be triggered by reading that fucking book. And that's on you. That puts you at a disadvantage when you sit down and have a conversation with a nigga like me. You understand? That's all I'm saying. That puts you at a disadvantage. What is the name of that book again? 6?
Get out of your own way.
Right?
Get out of your
And
own
but
way.
there's 6 something.
Oh, the 6 secrets of a lasting relationship.
That's another book, right? That shit is fire too. He got so many damn books. But this is the bestseller. Just Listen. Jeff Brown claims that he's read it. I beg to differ. Jeff is not one of the listening type. Does Jeff listen on this show, Bobby? Because Bobby be bitching about him too. Like, Bobby, that motherfucker, you got to rein your dog in now, because that motherfucker all over. Does Jeff listen, Bobby?
Why would you ask me that?
Yeah, don't put me on.
We gonna keep it real.
We're going to keep it real. Jeff listens, but I don't know if he really processes what he's listening to.
He be like, what'd you say, motherfucker? Wait a minute, I got something to We gonna miss Jeff today. That's my nigga. I love him
He's
to
pure
death.
in his heart.
He's very pure.
Pure in his heart.
Listen, this book, though, is amazing. Just Listen. Discover the secrets to getting through to absolutely anyone. I think anybody in a relationship needs this book. Talking to Crazy is his latest work, right? This one is good, too. I've been dissecting this one because I'm crazy and I know crazy. Yeah, boy. This is the crazy manual. Talking to him, no. And then Real Influence. I like this one a lot, too. Listen, if you feel like you got a lot of manipulators in your life, this is a book you need to read so you can pick up the signs of it. But it's also, to me, a companion to Just Listen, because it gives you tips on how to speak, on how to convey without, what I would consider offending people. This is a good book, right? Dr. Mark Goulston's work. Jesus. Sorry, Doc. And then finally, I saved the best for last. My stuff. Yeah, finally. I didn't train with you this week.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
I look like I care.
That's why I'm going to kick your ass next Friday. This Friday coming. Okay. God damn you, Kevin. Go ahead, Kevin.
You with the bullshit. Body protector, 30 seconds. All right. No, if you guys want to train, if you're in the LA area, you guys can hit me up at 3bbootcamp.com /online, BBB online. Or if you just want to train in person, give me a call at 310-435-3820, and we can hook something up. Also, for the Dragon Moore shirts and the Phoenix Moore shirts, as you see, I'm wearing the Dragon Moore shirt today.
That
Nice.
shit is fire.
So just go to realnagas.com, REELNAGAS.com, and cop the Dragon Moore shirt. So the Gold Dragon, though, just so you guys know, the Gold Dragon was the benevolent, the good dragon. Just so y'all know.
The benevolent.
Unlike somebody across the table.
Hey. Anyway, back to my stuff, because I got a lot of stuff to promote. I have T-shirts, right? I got T-shirts. You can get one of two designs, So What Show shirts, right?
Spread 'em out.
Yeah, well, yeah. So What Show shirts, extra large, all the way through 4X, only men's sizes. But let me just say, to the women who have been buying these shirts for nightgowns, send me
What?
pictures. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. My bad. Forgive me. No, seriously, sisters have been supporting me heavy. Women have been supporting me heavy. Go to IamZoeWilliams.com and please purchase a T-shirt, guys. This is a fundraiser. Also, The Relationship Dismount: How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship is a critically acclaimed book. Go on Amazon.com and see the 90+ reviews there. That I guess 97%, 96% are 5-star reviews. So please go check this book out. Go to my website. If you purchase it from my website today, I will package it up, and mail it out to you today. Today. It'll go out today. IamZoeWilliams.com. Cash Mob this book right now. And then the final thing that I'm going to promote, and I'm going to be checking this periodically throughout the show, Zoe Williams' new book project, The Holographic Relationship. I need you guys to get to Indiegogo.com and search Zoe Williams and pull up Zoe Williams' new book, The Holographic Relationship. You'll see a couple of campaigns, but the latest campaign has 2,000. That's the old campaign. So you can go to the search. That's fine. Go to the search and type in Zoe Williams. Right? Just show them the process. Type in Zoe Williams. Right. Click it. Hit that picture over there, me cheesing like I'm at Chuck E. Cheese. Pull it up. Boom. Go there and donate throughout the show. Anybody who donates now, $50 or more, will get Me Undies. The underwear company is back on deck. MeUndies.com is the name of the underwear company. A lot of people love the product that they've put out, Me Undies. They're back on deck. If you give $50, you get, I guess, a pair of underwear. If you give $100, you get 5 pair. So anybody that donates today, Me Undies will back your donation with, some draws, some really nice draws. So I appreciate it. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to get into the topic. We're going to introduce our special guest via Skype. Hey, Dr. Boyce Watkins is in the building. It's going to be crazy. We'll be back at 2.2.
I thought for sure I'd see your face again, but really I ain't surprised, baby. 'Cause all the good ones seem to always have
And it's Mary Carey, of course, politically naughty with Mary Carey.
I'm always naughty. I'm always politically. My behavior is always politically naughty. I'm never politically correct. Dr. Drew, hi. Oh, I'm so.
Hey guys, how are you?
It's all teary-eyed, Doctor.
I know. She wished she could live at rehab.
But only if Dr. Drew's there. Obviously, if someone like, because a little too groping might be inappropriate. But I like the flirting and stuff.
When I walked in, you shoved my head in your.
No! Are you gonna sue me?
Get politically naughty with Mary Carey. Mondays at 4 p.m.
Why is a white guy like me co-hosting a black radio show? I think toxic relationships cause you to take poorer care of yourself. That if you can recognize danger, if you can pause, if you can take some breaths, refocus, and engage, you might be able to dodge a bullet that you're going to send or coming towards you. One of the things that men don't get is that often women need to vent first to clear their mind. What's all this?
Just bring us back in, Drew.
Remember,
What we do here is go back.
Hi, I'm Rob Schneider. Hey guys, what's up? This is Matt McAndrew. Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Oakley.
And I'm Corey Cool.
Hi, I'm Martha Madison.
This is Slink Johnson, a.k.a. Black Jesus, BKA Godzilla Lungs.
Hello, I'm Aaron Roberts.
Yeah, what's up? This is Craig Wayans.
Hi, this is Brad Williams, and as you can tell, I have never gotten high.
Speedy Don.
And I am the fabulous Stephen King.
What's good? It's your boy Marcus Park, man. We keeping it lit.
I'm Money B.
Hey, I'm John Sally.
What's up, y'all? This is Crazy Bone in the building.
It's your girl Shantae Wayans. It's your favorite DJ Spark.
And it's your boy Street Symphony.
And you're watching Z
Hollywood TV.
And it's Mary Carey, of course, politically naughty with Mary Carey.
I'm always naughty. I'm always politically. My behavior is always politically
naughty.
I'm never politically correct.
Dr.
Drew, hi. Oh, I'm so.
Hey guys, how are you?
It's all teary-eyed, Doctor.
I know. She wished she could live at rehab.
But only if Dr. Drew's there. Obviously, if someone like, you know, because a little too groping might be inappropriate. But I like the flirting and stuff.
When I walked in, you shoved my head in your.
No! Are you gonna sue me?
Get politically naughty with Mary Carey. Mondays at 4 p.m.
Why is a white guy like me co-hosting a black radio show? I think toxic relationships cause you to take poorer care of yourself. That if you can recognize danger, if you can pause, if you can take some breaths, refocus, and engage, you might be able to dodge a bullet that you're going to send coming towards you. One of the things that men don't get is that often women need to vent first to clear their mind. So
you sit up. You on camera.
I always put people to sleep like that. So a year ago, I spoke at a conference, and someone was speaking about how do you lead through change? And I said, you got it wrong. You have to lead through fear, because the word change scares too many people. And since that year, people have gotten even more scared. So we're going to be talking about that. How do you live in a fear-based society? And here's what it comes down to. Is you have to, first of all, realize that when people are afraid, they can't think and they can't learn, but you can sometimes train them. And what we have to identify is people who have a good track record in black community, white community, any community, of being able to lead other people through fear. So you got to identify people who over and over again seem to get people back on track. And if you are someone who's trying to lead people through fear, you got to realize they can't think, they can't learn. So you got to give them specific things to do that when they do it, it has 100% of being successful. So that could be, say, you know, you feel sort of powerless today. Why don't you reach out to someone in your family and ask them how they're doing?
Wow.
Why don't you reach out to someone in your family and you know, thank them? Why don't you reach out? And so if you give people specific things that they don't even have to think about to do, and it's successful, it starts to open up their mind. And if you open up people's minds, they can begin to think a little bit, and maybe they can begin to learn. But you can't give them too much. You give them too much. In fact, this show is just filled with so much thought and so much thinking. I think if you're in fear, you're going to have to watch it over and over again because you're going to miss a lot. And if your mind's constricted, you're not going to be able to take it in.
Wow. Listen. So that's going to start us off for today's topic. SOUL-UTIONS, a practical guide for living in a fear-driven society. How does one wade through the waters of fear? Fear will cause you to do anything. Fear is like LSD. Right, all types of hallucinogen, like you hallucinating shit that ain't even there. So, I think we have to do a show that's predicated on how to survive in a culture that uses the media to scare people. Right, right now, being a black man is really fearsome in America for a lot of people. A lot of people are afraid of just the sight of black men. Right? And with recent things that have gone down, I think we have to do a show that addresses right? Or at least provide some kind of resource for how to live in this kind of society. Without further ado, I want to introduce a good friend of mine. I love this brother, smart brother, a brother with solutions, right? A brother with a plan. He was here before. I wish we could have had him here again. Without further ado, Dr. Boyce Watkins joins the So What Morning Show. Boyce!
What's happening, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, good to see you, man.
Same here, man. Same here. I hope you're making it all right in all this craziness.
Man, how crazy is it?
Ooh, the heat's hot, man. The heat is hot. You know, since that situation with the brother down in Baton Rouge, Gavin.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us have gotten unnecessary attention, man. I actually got a call last night from Cornell West, who was actually kind of schooling me on some of this, and I asked him. I said, "Have you seen anything like this at any point in your career?" And he said, "Not since the '60s."
Yeah.
You know, in terms of the feds really, you know, kind of thinking that somehow we're running some sort of cult that's teaching people how to kill, and it really bothered me that people connected Gavin to the, you know, like the class that Damon Dash and I teach. And I said, look, you know, we might have taught him how to start a business, but you know, the Marines are who taught him how to kill.
Wow.
We didn't teach him.
Wow. Hey, did we lose him? Yeah, get him back. Hey, call him back.
Not him again.
Call him back. And can we get the fuzz off of the screen? I mean,
I thought it was my cataract.
yeah, it could be. Yeah. But he's speaking about something real heavy and real true. Y'all make sure you get him back ASAP. The feds came to see me too. It's real. 2 of them. Because Gavin, that was his name. I've only known him as Cosmo, you know, through social media. I only knew him as Cosmo. He bought the book, right? He supported, you know, what we did. He supported the show. He pushed it around, right? And then...
The person whom you're trying to reach...
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, but they came. And what he says is true. It's, so, do you know any subversive black groups? Separatist groups?
Subversive
I said,
black groups.
Separatists? I said, you're going to have to explain what separatists mean.
Exactly.
You mean like Marcus Garvey get a boat and leave? I said, because if you look at most conscious, quote unquote, African conscious kind of people, they're conscious at home. They still have jobs and pay taxes. No one is really organized to the level that they want to leave. Like, what organization are you looking for? It is mythical. Right. I told the FBI this. I told them, I don't know that dude. I told him, he was like, well, why do you think he liked you or gravitated to you? I said, I'm pretty fucking magnetic. It's not easy. It's not hard to get locked into what I'm doing. I said, but when I met the kid, because I did meet him one time at Jeff Brown's comedy event in Long Beach, he had emailed me and said, hey, I'm going to be in town promoting my book. Now, Spirit is with me. Spirit rides with me. Because he had been asking through email, can I have an address? Can I have an address to send you my book? And I would always ignore that. I would never respond because something in me said, no, hell's no. And then he was like, well, I'm going to be in LA promoting my book. I'm going to go to Jeff Brown's comedy event. No, he didn't even tell me he was going to go to Jeff Brown's comedy event. I just went. And lo and behold, the day I go, I didn't even know Bobby was going to be there. The day I go, he's there. He goes, hey, Zoe, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, bruh. Bobby walks in. Bobby and all of us are talking. This is one thing I don't like about Bobby. Bobby loved taking pictures. Bobby is the consummate promoter. I think Bobby could have been a better promoter than Don King, right?
I believe it.
Taking pictures or whatnot. And this is what I see as not conspiracy, but part of shaping the story and shaping the fear. Bobby, myself, Jeff, and somebody else take a group photo with this brother. A group photo. Somebody on Twitter finds that photo and edits everybody else out but me and him. And then says, at Zoe Williams with Baton Rouge shooter.
Wow.
So you know what I did? Because I'm a smart motherfucker. I respond to them with a picture of me and Hillary Clinton. I tag them in the picture and say, well, just because I'm in a picture with Hillary Clinton doesn't necessarily mean I know her. You know what the FBI agent said? Or where she kept the servers.
That's hilarious.
To me, there is a movement out there to connect guys who are doing positive things in the community to guys that aren't, right? And there's a fine line. There's a fine line. Is Dr. Boyce back?
Yes.
Brother
Can you hear
Boyce,
me?
yeah, we got you, man. We don't know what happened, but
You know, hey, with the feds watching, anything's possible. So
right.
I'm sitting there thinking, man, did somebody chop this connection? Because my internet literally went out right when we were talking, and I think that was interesting. But you know, I guess when I was talking about Cornell and all that, man, he said that he hasn't really seen anything like this in a while, and he offered his support, just so you know that, because he understands kind of what you're dealing with. And I agree with you. I heard what you were just saying, that it's so funny that people are trying to make these weird connections that don't exist. You know, I found out later. I didn't know who the brother was. I didn't know his name. I just got forwarded a video where he mentioned the Black Business School and the stuff that we do. And I said, whoa, he was in our class. And I didn't think anything else. I mean, I thought it was interesting, but I didn't go investigate. Then I started getting calls from reporters.
Right.
You know, you probably get every news outlet, well, whatever, because there was this email he sent out to about 12 or 13 people. And so they said, well, can you check your email to see if he emailed you? And I said, sure. So I looked it up. I really honestly didn't expect to find him in there. And I found like maybe 10 messages that he'd sent.
Right.
And I get a lot of messages every day. So I don't even read my email most of the time. So I read through it, and a lot of it was just administrative stuff or whatever. But then there was a couple of them that were real serious. Whereas if I had seen them, I probably would have emailed him back and said, okay, what's going on, brother? Are you okay?
Right. Right.
But it's crazy that people are now sort of almost trying to figure out if we have some sort of cult thing going on where we're telling black men to go do these things, and the answer is obviously no.
Right. And I was very clear. I said, listen, the only thing we got in America, I'm talking to 2 FBI agents, one white, one of some nondescript ethnicity. He was like an Arab or something. I don't know what he was. But I told those guys, I said, the only thing we got in America when it pertains to black people is each other. And the fact of the matter is, we're not together.
Yes.
So for y'all to be looking for a togetherness where none doesn't, it doesn't exist that way. We're not together. So they was bugging. You know, I told them I'm in there talking about black businesses I promote. I told them about Elephant, a company out of New York, black-owned, brothers, tailors, doing their own line of clothes in the same factory that Ralph Lauren does his. I said, you know, brothers ain't buying those, even though it's made of the same material. It just doesn't have the polo pony. And you know what the FBI agents was in there doing? My daughter's hilarious. She's in the other room with the dog. So when they leave, she goes, Dad, you're so charming. They loved you. They loved you. Because they're in there laughing at the struggles. They're in there going, wow, that's terrible. Damn, that's too bad for y'all.
Wow.
Bobby?
Just for perspective, last Sunday was my birthday. And
happy lady, man.
It wasn't unhappy about it because
Bobby was worried.
10 o'clock in the morning, our time, 10:45, the story broke, and they interrupted regular programming and announced that there had been a shooting in Baton Rouge. I didn't think anything of it particularly other than the remorse that something crazy had happened. And then about 3 hours later, I got the first of several media inquiries, and I'm wondering why, because it was only 9 people on this one email that the brothers Cosmos / Gavin Long sent to 9 people. Dr. Boyce was one of them. Zoe was one. I didn't know the other people.
I hadn't even seen the email, and Bobby called me and said, boy, you on that damn list.
Yeah.
I said, what? Shit.
And what was interesting, we spent the same 15 minutes with him.
Right.
All right. Now, here's where it got dicey. All of the inquiries, CNN, Wall Street Journal, NBC, all of these folks wanted the same thing, a salacious edge. Absolutely. And here's where it got very problematic for me. And that is, when I tried to explain to them that I didn't know them, then they wanted to know how did I end up getting an email that only 8 other people got. I said, well.
Bobby, you talked to them?
Huh? To who?
To the media.
I had to.
No, you didn't, Bobby.
I had to. You didn't have to.
Damn it, Bobby.
No, you didn't have to because you didn't know what I had to do from my perspective because all I know is they are making assumptions that I need to correct. And the reason it didn't go any further is why I interceded right now. I didn't get any publicity because I wasn't looking for none. So I told them the truth. I don't know the guy because I don't. And that's the extent of what I told them. And then I told all of those news sources the following. I said, the reason why I'm not going to turn up in this story is because I'm not in it. And what I'm finna tell you right now, you don't want to hear. Mm-hmm. And that is, you're trying to build a narrative that supports your ratings. And hearing the truth right now, it's not going to be what you want to promote on your airwaves. Absolutely. So that's the extent of it. I ain't heard nothing else from them because they didn't want to know the truth. And the truth is, what this brother did has nothing to do with me. But it is a product of sending somebody to war, bringing them back to this country, not treating them in accordance with the ideals of serving your country, and then putting them in an environment where they don't really feel that they fit necessarily, and nobody that he sent those emails to directly has anything to do with that because he said that. Right. So that's what I told him.
Dr. Boyce?
Yes.
Did you see the interview that Tavis Smiley did with the brother's mother?
I haven't watched anything Tavis has done in like a decade, so no, I did not see that.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is because Tavis had a very interesting conversation with the brother's mother and their struggle with the VA. You see what I'm saying? And there are a lot of military guys out here on the street that are having a struggle with the VA that have been trained with a specific kind of skill set and then released back out here to the streets. Some of them with PTSD. Some of them wind up on police forces.
Right. Yeah. True.
So can we deal with that, brother Boyce?
I agree with you 100%. I mean, if you really want to look at, to me, I just had to tell it like it was because I did actually talk to some reporters because, like the brother was saying, I mean, I didn't have anything to hide, and honestly, I felt compelled to at least present information that would possibly allow us to see the situation as it was, as opposed to what somebody wants it to be. I'm not a person that would want him to be seen as a hero, but I am a person who didn't want him to be seen as a pure lunatic who just had no reason to be upset. I've talked to a lot of brothers who are mad about people coming in our communities murdering black people, right? I cannot sit there and say that it's illogical for you to be upset or that it's illogical for you to want to retaliate because I live in the South Side of Chicago, just like you live in LA, and you got brothers that are in unsanctioned wars where your loved ones are being killed. What man would not feel upset about some of that to a point where they might declare war? And because the thing is, when this brother was off killing on behalf of the U.S. government, he got medals for that. He got rewarded for that. And so, obviously we live in a country where killing on behalf of the black community makes you some sort of terrorist threat, which it's fine. It is what it is. And that's why I would never recommend anybody doing that, because it comes with a lot of really complex implications. But I just can't, I'm having a hard time sort of syncing up everything I'm seeing, because you do live in a country that has a very clear double standard. Because when Micah was killing cops, they blew Micah up. They murdered him on the spot. You know, so if you're killing black men, does that mean that now it's like time to march and pray about that? You know, so maybe this is the kind of rhetoric that gets me in trouble, because I'm not one that will say, go pick up a gun, go do this, go do that. But I am one to say, to call a spade a spade. We got to do that, because the thing is that we're tempted, I think, because we're nervous about all this Fed heat, we're tempted to write it off like I didn't know that nigga. He ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't understand that nigga. He was clearly off. I'm not going to do that. I can't in good conscience. But I can say that if I was talking to him one-on-one, number one, I wouldn't be afraid of him. But then number two, I would tell him, don't pick up that gun, because you don't really want that kind of drama.
Right.
But so going back to what you were saying about, you know, veterans and PTSD, I found out later, and again, this is just me for sake of full disclosure, you're the only media outlet I've spoken to since I stopped talking to media. And so since that time, I did find out that I did meet Cosmo at a book signing in LA. And I didn't know that at the time, but I was told that I did meet him. And at that point I said, I don't even want to talk to the media about any of this, because I know how they lie. I know how they want to create a story, and I'm not going to help them do that. But I did meet him. I shook his hand, signed his book. I saw, and I do remember him. So he was unique enough that I remember seeing his face out of the hundreds of people I saw. And I remember that he had a very serious look on his face.
Right.
And it was enough to make you say, okay, is he okay? So
right.
That I will say. So that's where the PTSD does come into play.
Right.
You know, but I think that we have to be real careful in terms of how we have this conversation in a way where we're not going to be stupid and create, you know, this sort of war on black people that the feds are probably trying to propagate. But at the same time, I don't think that we have to necessarily walk away from the discussion because we're worried about getting.
Oh no, you can't walk away from the discussion. You cannot. And to speak to what you just covered, a couple of things. In my interview with the FBI, I said, you think black men arming themselves up and fighting y'all, do you think we have a fighting chance? Do you know the white FBI agent started giggling, snickering? Like, really? Listen, America has mastered murder. Yes. We have to be clear with that. And I told them that. I said, America has mastered murder. Y'all have mastered every means of killing. That's why nobody in the world will fuck with you. It's not that we have the best politicians or the best laws. It's not. It's, I have the biggest gun.
Yes.
My technology is better than y'all's.
Yep, something else other than a gun.
Something really ugly will happen if you cross us. I told him that. The white agent snickered a bit. Like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
yes, we are pretty we are pretty fucking invincible when it comes to that shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, so when Brother Boyce speaks on this is real. I say, and this is my thought on it, Boyce, and you can always correct me because I see you as an elder and I respect your word. But I see violence as a tantrum. I see violence as some childish shit. In the way of, I don't have anything else. This is my last resort. Right? So I guess I got to fight back. I see it as childish. We do it in relationships when we get angry. That's what domestic abuse and domestic violence is about. A lot of times I'm mad about my circumstances, and the only thing that I can show my power, or the only way I can show my power, is to beat up on my spouse, right? Or to beat up on my kids. So I see violence in and of itself as a last resort. I ain't got shit, all my resources are depleted, and I'm in a desperate space. That is not to say that African American men in particular aren't in a desperate space here in America. But what I'm saying is, when is the last generation, Boyce, of African American men and women that have said, I don't give a fuck what happens. Balls to the wall. We gonna ride with each other. We gonna support every single thing everybody does until we all come up collectively. When was the last generation that we saw that happen?
Well, you know what? I think you make a good point. Before I actually answered that, I was curious. How old are you, Zoe? How old are you, man?
I'm 45, brother.
Okay, so I ain't your elder because I'm 45 too. I just want to make sure.
All right. Well, I just see you as an intellectual elder.
It's all good, though. It's all good.
He said, wait a minute, hold on.
He said, damn it, Zoe, we the same age.
You probably older than him.
I was raised on Thunder Art the Barbarian too, man.
Hey, but you know what, man? For real, like, here's the way I kind of see it. You know, what you said about not being able to take on the military might of the federal government, obviously, that is completely true. It would be difficult to do that, and that's why no one recommends that. Nobody that I know of. But what I will say though, when you get to the point about responding to something with some sort of physical reaction, whether it's just a direct punching somebody or shooting somebody, whatever the case may be, I think there is a difference between, say, me attacking my spouse versus one group responding to a rival gang that has murdered people they care about. And if you look at the police force around the United States and their stubbornness, and I say this as a son of a cop who knows the police force very well, good, bad, and everything in between, I'm the first person in the room to say all cops ain't bad, and then I get called a coon. But I'm also the first person in the room to say that I've overheard cops making jokes about planting drugs on people and sending them to prison for life, or jokes about how they can kill a black person and not be indicted for it, right? So with that being said, the police officers around the country, unfortunately, have positioned themselves as a gang. They because they're competing with criminals, many of them behave like criminals, and when they go into black communities, that criminality increases. So what's unfortunate is that, especially with the war on drugs and the militarization of police, they've got to the point where they see black communities as the enemy, as an occupied state. Their job is not to protect and serve everybody; is to protect white people from black people, rich people from poor people. So there are many in our community, many young black men that I work with and I deal with, who just literally say that there's nothing good about cops at all. I don't see anything good when they come to our community. They're no different from the Crips, the Bloods, the Gangster Disciples, or anybody coming in there trying to basically exploit and harm us so that they can make money. They'll take our money, put it in their pocket, and walk away. And then when a cop murders a black man, he doesn't even get indicted. These lily white folks from the suburbs sit on these damn juries and say, oh, well, he shot a nigga down. He must have had a good reason to do it. And you won't even indict those cops. So you think, again, it wasn't a problem when black men were taking that frustration and murdering each other. But the minute they look at your gang and say, wait a minute, you're the cause of all of this, and respond the same way they would respond to the Crip down the street, people want to act like it's a national crisis. My reaction is, it ain't no national crisis. It's just the pain is being spread around, and y'all don't know how to deal with this. When you think about this, a couple of cops get killed, and everybody across the country is talking about it. About 30 black people got murdered in Chicago on the South Side, a few blocks from my house last week, and none of y'all saying nothing about any of this. So if you can't respect the deaths of black men, then don't expect me to shed extra tears when a cop gets shot down, because to me it's all the same. It's one gang retaliating against another. And if you want to stop all of that, then you stop your gang from attacking the people that we care about. That's the bottom line.
Ooh, and you know how powerful of a statement, hold on, I'm going to let everybody get in on this. But you know how powerful of a statement that is? Just let it sink in for a second. It's one gang fighting another gang. But the way the American media shapes it, blue lives matter more. That gang means something to the establishment, to the system. That gang has more value. So when you say Black Lives Matter, because people tried to tie us to that too, right? Listen, I've always said any movement like that, you can find out the real agenda behind it when you track down the money. Who's funding it? I'm not a part of any agenda like that. But my question is, when you memorialize all of the police officers who have been killed, and rightfully so because they're human beings, they got families, great, you memorialize them. But you should also memorialize the people they've struck down. You know, they never memorialized. Was Mike Brown memorialized by the system? He was criminalized. Was Tamir Rice memorialized by the system? What about Kendrick? What's his name? Kendrick Johnson down in Atlanta that was rolled into the mat. His mom was on the phone with us, and they stuffed his body with newspaper after his organs was removed. Was he memorialized by the system that failed him? See, Boyce brings up a great point. You're not going to be able to reconcile the difference between the two sides until you value the lives on each side equally. As long as there's a disparity in the value. Like you said, how many people died, Boyce, in Chicago?
I mean, it's dozens of people every week. I mean,
every week.
It's like death is just everywhere, you know, and so with, you know, and much of this is due to corruption. It's due to police corruption, political corruption. One brother I talked to at the Conference of the Oppressed, he was a former gangbanger in Chicago, and I said, what I need to understand is if all these killings are happening between little kids, where are these guns coming from? Because we don't make those guns. And he said, to be honest with you, Dr. Boyce, he said sometimes you just go back to the back alley and there'll be a box of guns just sitting there and nobody knows where it came from. You know, so who's doing this? Who's doing this? I mean, do you really think you could do this to a community and not have it have long-term repercussions? So I just really see everything that's happened as chickens coming home to roost, as Malcolm talked about. That's all it is. You know, y'all ain't even getting a fraction of what we seeing. Period.
Wow. Listen, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, the rest of the panel will weigh in on how to live in a fear-based society. It's getting crazy. We'll be back at 2.2.
Under your spell for too long, in jail for too long, in hell for too long, forbidden any knowledge of ourselves for too long. So fuck you, we gon' bang one set, we gon' clang one set, we gon' bang one set.
A hot nothing.
We out here.
That's what we talking about. Absolutely nothing.
Thursdays,
12 p.m. to 1 p.m.
A hot nothing on Z Hollywood TV.
That was perfect.
That ain't mine. That ain't mine. That ain't mine.
I start. Hi, I'm Moxie.
And I'm Nicole, and we're the ladies of Suicide Girls Radio, the world's leading BYOB radio show. Pour a glass of your favorite tipple and tune in on Wednesday nights between 8 and 9 p.m. as we discuss life, liberty, and the pursuit of free nipples. Oh, just flash it would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? People think flashing your tits is easy, right? And it's actually kind of hard.
What we do here is go back.
Hi, I'm Rob Schneider. Hey guys, what's up? This is Matt McAndrew. Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Oakley.
And I'm Corey Cool.
Hi, I'm Martha Madison.
This is Slink Johnson, a.k.a. Black Jesus, b.k.a. Godzilla lungs.
Hello, I'm Eric Roberts.
Yeah, what's up? This is Craig Wayans.
Hi, this is Brad Williams, and as you can tell, I have never gotten high.
Speedy Don.
And I am the fabulous Stephen Payne.
What's good? It's your boy Marcus Park, man. We keeping it lit. I'm Money B.
Hey, I'm John Sally.
What's up, y'all? This is Crazy Bone in the building.
It's your girl Shantae Wayans.
It's your favorite DJ Spark.
And it's your boy Street Symphony.
And you're watching Z
Hollywood TV.
Yo, this is Sean Collinson from Pop Protocol, and we're here with Master P. We just wanted to talk about today. There was a stop today with DeJuan out of Williamsport, and a lot of celebrities are getting involved with really what's happening around the country. And I just wanted Master P to weigh in on, Pete, what do you think about this stop today, man, with DeJuan? What's your take on that?
Well, I think, first of all,
It's not cool. It's injustice. But I feel like if I was the one, if I want to get home to my family, then I'm not going to even say nothing out the way. I'm just going to comply and go home.
Right, so
and then I'll take the cop badge number or something and figure it out. Like I said, I mean, where I grew up in the Calio projects in New Orleans. And my grandmother always told me, we don't have no rights. When you walk out this door, son, you have no rights. So just complying to make sure you can make it back home. And so I grew up, even though it's bad and it might be sad to some people, but I grew up thinking that way. Because even they tell us we got all these freedoms and all these rights and you know, Martin Luther King died for civil rights, died for all these things, but in reality, you know, somebody got a gun and you don't have no gun. You know, I tell people all the time, a good run beat a bad stand, and I'm just trying to get back home. So I'm going, even though I don't agree with how they treat us, I'm going to hopefully try to do the right thing and just not say nothing. I'm not going to egg on something or show them that I'm angry or upset, even though we do so-called supposed to have rights.
Right.
And,
so you feel like DeJuan egged the cop on a little bit?
No, I feel like he did what he felt was right. I'm just saying, me personally, you know, I grew up in New Orleans and it's 45 minutes from Baton Rouge. I mean, people don't realize that prejudiceness and racism, it still exists. But it's hidden. Right. And you look at it, that was an African-American person and a white cop. So, you know, they scared of everything that's going on. You got to realize these people are afraid of us, too. Yeah. So, you know, he got a do-rag on.
Yeah, y'all should check out popprotocol.org, which stands for Pullover Protocol. And I just seen that a couple times. And I don't know, maybe I'm just with you guys, but boy, you could feel his pain. Couldn't you feel Master P's pain? I mean, you know, the struggle, and, you know, it's an unjust kind of world, but you got to get home. You're someone's kid, and you got to get home. And I hadn't felt the power of just the pain he feels, and that doesn't mean you should roll over. But I'd like all of you to sort of weigh in what you thought was. I'd like to speak to it if that's cool.
Sure, Poet, and then Bobby, and then Kev, and then of course Boyce.
By the way, I'm Truth.
Oh, sorry. Could you turn on his mic, though? Yeah. Or speak into the mic.
1, 2. Yeah.
Well, let him see your mic, because that mic don't work. Good job, guys.
All right. Yeah, you know, I thought that was interesting, but...
Wait, first introduce who you are. They don't know who you are.
My name is Truth. We just cut from... we went to break with my music. I appreciate everybody who supports it. Love all y'all. Please keep getting it. And I got some more coming for you.
Where can they get it?
They can get it at CD Baby, Truth 124 at CD Baby. I prefer that one because they pay a brother pretty good. So
CD Baby.
CD Baby's a good spot to go.
That Truth album is sick.
Yeah, I got another one coming for you. So much love. But before I forget, now I listened to that and I respect what the brothers are saying, and like the doctor said, it does kind of feel like rolling over, you know. And I couldn't help but feel that way. It's like, you know, we should all stop lying and stop bullshitting. We don't have rights. All right, there are two Americas, and I mean I've always experienced that. I grew up in the black community. No black men ever pulled no guns in my face, but before I was 16 years old, it happened at least 12 times by the police. You know, walking home.
I remember those days.
Yeah, you was with me. You know, so I mean it goes down like that to where you get used to it. You shouldn't have to get used to law enforcement threatening to blow your nuts off. You know, you shouldn't have to get used to that.
Altadena sheriffs.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a norm. There shouldn't be rumors and stories about them taking you up to the mountains and you disappearing and never coming home. That shouldn't be your norm. That shouldn't be your childhood. And we shouldn't teach our children that that's a norm. That kind of capitulation is the Willie Lynch syndrome reborn.
It's a coping mechanism.
That's it. It's
African-American men need to learn how to cope in order to get home.
Right, to get home.
I mean, that's what that video was saying right there. No matter what, you belong to somebody, get home, so do whatever you need to do. If that's bootlicking, if that's... Everything about American culture says you can't have a backbone.
Right.
But you can back the system up so you can get home. That's what it's saying. in every aspect of being a black man. Bobby, your point on that?
Well, that's a Band-Aid, and we got a metastasizing wound. And the reality is this: poverty drives this whole discussion, and the narrative has to include the implications of too many people living below the poverty line.
Right.
In concentrations, block after block after block. Then you run into a prosperous block, and it's a whole nother situation for about 1 square mile. Then you run back into that poverty. So we have to be realistic about what's driving this madness right now. And it's not just in America, it's around the world. People have went beyond the threshold of poverty into a derangement, because you can't just keep on having generation after generation without, and then the one thing they do have is a phone and access to how everybody else is living with prosperity. With that being said, a lot of what we're dealing with right now has to be dealt with economically. It has to be dealt with the fact that even if you are poor, you're still a taxpayer. So you shouldn't have to settle for a person that you're paying his salary to mistreat you.
Kev?
Yeah, you know, we sit here and we talk about, and I listen to everybody talk about, listen to the frustrations of how the black people, or so-called black people, don't have any rights.
Right.
And it's really hard for me to sit here and listen to that when I know the reason that you don't have any rights is because of what you call yourselves. If you guys don't understand in America the game of status of who you are, you'll never have any rights. That's just the way it is. Now, you know, going back to all this, you know, the fear game, all this killing of the police and black people, there's a major thing, you know, going on, and they're just basically trying to distract you with this bullshit. So there's something in the world called the New World Order. Okay, now then there's something called the One World Order. There's two different things. The New World Order was them trying to change governments into corporations. That's already been done.
Uh-oh.
Now the One World Order is merging those corporations and basically to one giant corporation, one conglomerate. And while they're doing that with, you know, all their trade agreements and the G8 and the G20 and all of this stuff that they're coming together, they're merging the financial system. Then they're about now all the terrorism that's going on around the world. It's a terrorist attack damn near every other day.
Right.
What they're doing with that is they're going to create something called the Coalition of ISIS, or the Coalition Against ISIS. Now this is going to bring everybody's military together. So while they're doing this and linking up, everybody, now they got us worrying about black cops this, white. This is all bullshit. This is major bullshit, and everybody's buying into it and going crazy over it. Now, I'm not saying don't have real emotion about what's going on, but stop being frustrated and sit back and understand and learn who you are and why that's happening to you in society. Then on the top of that, then you need to link up, because after all that, after you understand who you are, you're not going to have any power being individualized. So you have to organize and then understand the game and get ready for that new game that's coming on. That's really what they're doing, and they're trying to distract you with all this bullshit that's going on.
Wow. Dr. Boyce, your thoughts?
You know, I agree. I agree in the sense that there's definitely always some sort of conspiracy that relates to the elite controlling the masses. You know, capitalism is an ugly bitch when it's at its worst, and the way America has practiced capitalism has been one where it's going to collapse on them at some point. I don't think that it's sustainable in terms of the decisions that is made, and also it's come at a huge cost in terms of the way human beings are being treated. You know, I think that at the same time, I think that we do have room to have that conversation about race. Because while capitalism has, unfortunately, in the way it's being used, all capitalism doesn't have to be corrupt. It doesn't have to lead to slavery, but the way it's being applied, it does do this. And as corrupt as it has become, you can't, I think, talk about that without talking about white supremacy. Because understand, you know, most of the people that are pushing these crazy agendas, these New World Order type agendas, you know, et cetera, are Europeans, you know, Eurocentric types, you know, and so race, I think, does always matter. I think that it's difficult to get into, you know, so I think about this when I'm thinking about, you know, hearing from the Hillarys and the Bernies and all this other stuff. I can't really get into that very much because I don't really feel that there's much place for me as a black man in that space, because even when people are having these conversations about inequality, the rich versus the poor, it just always seems that black people kind of get pushed down to the bottom of that conversation. So I think that black people have to keep doing what we're doing now. There really hasn't been a better time to be black in the last 30 years than what we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. You know, so I would say that, you know, we hunker down, go back to our core. When you talk about who we are, you know, I'm not just part of the 99%. You know, I'm not just part of that little corner of the liberal establishment or whatever. I am a black man, and that's meaningful. And I think that's where I think a lot of our conversations can begin.
Man, well, this is amazing stuff here. My whole initiative behind this show is how to live fearlessly in a fear-based society. How can one live fearlessly in that society? Kev, Bobby, Doc.
So in breaking this down, you need to understand what fear is. The definition of fear means danger. That's literally the etymology of it. The definition of danger is really sick. It means power of a master or dominion or lord and master. So literally, fear becomes your master.
Wow.
This is the game. They understand that. So they just pump fear, all kinds of bullshit out into the thing, and that just becomes your master, and you just roll right along with it.
Wow.
So, you know, going back to, you know, Yoda, the great Yoda, fear leads to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. And
but
hate,
you gotta say it like Yoda.
No, I don't.
Go ahead.
Stop right. No, I don't. But you know, it's that vibration. I sent Zoe a video the other day that showed where these scientists did a test on DNA, and they showed how fear and love were two wave vibrations.
Right.
And when they put DNA into a tube and they ran these vibrations over the DNA, and fear was a very long wave of emotion. And when they ran it over the DNA, you have certain points on your DNA called antennae.
It only touched very few of
very few antennae on the DNA. When they did the love vibration and ran over it, it's a very fast oscillating wave. It
went all the way through.
Yeah, it lit up all the different antennae on the DNA. So basically, they were showing when you fear, you are turned off. You are less connected. You
have less access.
Less access to to the universe. When you're in a love state, though, it's all abundance. All of that is coming to you.
Right.
And they understand this science, and this is what they're pumping over over us. Fear, hate. Oh, hate the white man. Hate the black. Hate the. That's bullshit.
Fear leads to diet humanity.
Yes.
Right? Fully actualized humanity is in a state of love. I get what you're saying. Bobby?
After having worked with the great Jim Brown for the last 30 years and become a facilitator of his life management skills curriculum, one of the precepts of mastering life starts with fear and understanding the motivation for fear. It comes in so many different forms. Many of the things that Kevin's talking about are irrefutable, but there's other elements of it too. Sometimes we're afraid of success.
Oh, say more. Go in there.
As a result of that, we'll sabotage I will sabotage my own success. We teach this curriculum in first person because at the end of the day, who's responsible for you? At the end of the day, you are. But they, you, we, all these other people get in the mix.
Right.
And that will turn into fear of taking control of the decision-making process, which is to eliminate the negative things that keep you from thinking squarely, and then look in that mirror and be honest about whose fault was it. Was it the white man's fault? Was it my mother's fault, my daddy's fault? Now that I'm of age of awareness, is it my responsibility? Don't matter whose fault it is after a while. What kind of life do you want to live? Or do I want to live? So it's about managing your expectations, or my expectations.
Right. Bobby, Doc, poet, truth. Sorry.
It's all good.
I've known him since we was 12. Poet. He's truth. Would you say the white man's fear is a reflection of the fear that the black man has of each other, for each other? And the reason why I ask that is some of us even fear working with each other. Some of us fear organizing with each other. right? I've always said, because of white supremacy, black people find power in beating each other down, because that's one of the only places we can pop off is on each other. We dare not pop off on the system. This is why a Gavin Long is such a threat. Or who was that other guy?
Micah something.
No. Micah was the. I'm talking. These are the two recent ones.
Oh.
I'm talking about the one a couple years ago. The dude that was on the run.
Chris Dorner.
Chris Dorner.
The cop dude. Oh, the cop.
Right. This is why those kinds of guys, which are all military, by the way, even the DC shooter, military, by the way. Nobody wants to talk about the military connection. They want to connect them to some YouTube shows. They don't want to talk about the real training behind their expertise of killing. They want to talk about, and he listened to this TV show.
Damn Manchurian Candidate.
Right. They don't want to talk about the Manchurian Candidate element. But my point is, a lot of times when it comes to black people, there is a fear that we have of each other. Do we, in fact, project that outwardly? I'd like to investigate that thought. Right? Boyce first.
Well, you know what I'll say is that you know, I've often compared the state of part of urban America to Michael Vick's puppies. If you think about Michael Vick's puppies, they didn't start off wanting to kill each other. What happened was they were put in an environment, a constrained environment, in which they were forced to fight or die for scarce resources. They were starved. They were abused in a multitude of ways until they got to the point where they had to become killers, because naturally killing was the only thing that would keep them alive. And so you look at the urban America, especially you go back, say, to the early 70s, back after the government murdered Dr. King, which was proven in court. The government played a part in murdering Malcolm X.
Wow.
The government played a part in murdering what the Black Panthers stood for. Then at that point, what happens? You know, you let these drugs into the community, which comes with weapons, which comes with a tremendous amount of trauma. Because if I'm growing up in that environment, then either I've got relatives who've either been incarcerated over the drugs, who've been addicted to the drugs, who've been murdered over the drugs, or who and I'm the one who survived, and I've got PTSD now because it's not really normal for me to be able to say, at my high school graduation, I had 10 friends that were murdered before we turned 18. And then you add that on to the complete neglect of with this taxation without representation that black people have faced, where we're paying taxes like everybody else, but somehow our community's agenda always gets pushed to the bottom. So these communities are neglected. They don't get small business loans to build businesses. The jobs are gone. The educational system's dilapidated. So you create this really dysfunctional pile of shit that I'm forced to live in, which ultimately will lead me. And if I don't understand how this game is played, if I don't understand the whole Monopoly board, then all I know how to do is get mad at the nigga next to me. You know, and so at the end of the day, I agree with you that there is that fear. There are a lot of black people who have good reason to be afraid of certain other black people, because some black people are just gone because of what they've gone through. But all of this is created by white supremacy. It's a pressure cooker that we're forced to survive in, and it ultimately leads us to react in various ways.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful. Dr. G, poet, truth, and then Bobby.
I have some good friends in the military. I have some good friends who ran the Marines, and so I hope they don't listen to this. Because I've met a number of people who went to serve and they've come back, and they're not just black, they're white too, but some of the black people, what they've said is, you join the military and they do a bait and switch. They attract you to something that's going to be wonderful and fighting for freedom, all these opportunities, and then you go there and you see sort of the horror of war and you don't even know what you're doing, and then you come home and they do a bait and ditch.
Ooh.
Meaning you come home and you're wounded, you sacrificed everything for this, and you don't even get treated with dignity. I was on CNN a couple of years ago. Remember there was a date when they said PTSD soldiers didn't have to humiliate themselves to prove that they'd been anything. So the day that happened, I was on CNN, and And at the end of it, I mean, I kind of went off script, so they haven't had me on again. I said, I wanted to apologize for my profession, the psychiatric profession, for the way they've treated a lot of military.
Wow.
Because and I've heard from too many military that psychiatrists treating them are chewing gum, and then when you're getting frustrated, they say, "Oh, you got an anger problem." No, I don't have an anger problem. I'm just angry at you when you're chewing on your gum and you're not listening to me, and you're just passing time. And so I wonder how much, because we're seeing more and more military people who are trained. They're trained to kill. They're trained to kill for something good and honorable. And I wonder if many of them experience this bait and switch. You go there, war doesn't turn out to be what you thought it would be, and then you get back and you're wounded, and it's this bait and ditch, and they discard you. And I'm not making excuses for people killing other people, but you can sort of understand their rage.
Right. Bobby?
Well, I have a passion about that because one of the people I write about in my book, I wonder, had he survived Vietnam, what he would have been like, because I've seen so many veterans that came back and they were never anywhere close to the same. And at a time when we really should be wrapping ourselves around these people for two reasons. Not only because they did their part. Now, doing our part is just an obligation. The other thing is our own personal safety, because when you give people that kind of skill set, and then they come back into a world where they see that they're never going to have the things that they thought service would have provided them, that's your worst nightmare. The other thing about perception, some of the blackest people I know are white. Not that many of them.
Say more.
Not that many of them.
Hey!
But a few of them. They're black in terms of the way their soul operates, because they deal with people as human beings. I got about 3 or 4 white friends that are blacker than most black people I know.
Woo!
And it's because we don't have to get into this situation about defending where they came from or who they are. It comes down to, can we do certain things together? Some of the best deals I've done with people were based on the fact that we didn't get caught up in race, we got caught up in value. And some of my own people, I have to prove to them that I'm of value, and then we'll attach that to white supremacy. And I'm like, I don't really have time in my life to worry about all of that, because the clock is ticking. Who's going to do the deal? I've seen white people do more to help black folks do black things. I'm doing real black things with a black title and everything, including this book. My publisher was white, and she knew I wasn't writing about white people, and she could care less because she was fair-minded, and she knew I had a good product. She believed in my product. And so as we begin to deal with white supremacy, it comes down to good and bad at some point, if we're going to ever get across that threshold.
Good and bad people is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kev?
I love everybody in here, Dr. Boyce, Watkins, you too, but y'all niggas making my dick itch with this black shit.
Could it be the girl you was with last night?
No, y'all niggas. Y'all are not black. Y'all need to stop saying that. Black is not synonymous with dark. And let me just give y'all a little breakdown of how they think. In science, the reason you see color in an object is because the object does not have that color. It actually reflects that color. Melanated people are dark is because you reflect UV light. Right. Which is ultraviolet, very, very dark purple. That's why you are dark. You're not black. You are dark. This is the terminology that they fuck you up with. In law in America, there were people who were melanated who tried to call themselves black, and they couldn't. They had to be termed white because they were from another region. They tried to come over here and get a different status. The term black, you need to kill that shit. That is what's killing you. It is a status in law. Go look it up, because all you're doing is basically like a disease-infested blanket. It's keeping you warm, but it's killing you. You guys need to understand that shit. Understand it now if you want to change your status and stop being smashed on in society.
So I have a suggestion for Kevin. You're going to have to do that series, a video series where you take us through the history and the application through law.
I'm doing the
because
you're
going to have to teach it, because they're not going to get it right here today in a 90-second clip.
I'm doing the documentary right now.
There
but
you
I'm
go.
just saying, but we've been doing this
so up
over
until this
You specifically though, because you know black doesn't mean dark, and you keep saying it.
Hey, I'm gonna keep saying it just for the context of what we're saying.
If you don't break people's mind state out of how to do it, because you got all these people out here respecting what you say, but if they keep hearing you say black, then they go, "Oh, Zoe said it." Nigga,
but I can only speak in the way that they understand. I can't tell them something that they don't understand.
But
yet.
you can't. You do. First of all, you do understand it.
So
and then
I understand it.
But if you keep saying it over and over, if you keep putting
Kev,
up the line,
we off topic,
dude. No, we're not. This is the topic. This is absolutely
it'll
the topic.
be the topic, Kev, when we get your video series.
You don't see how this goes.
When the video series coming,
you don't see how this shit goes along with what you're talking about. All y'all sitting up here wondering why you're getting your ass smashed, and you're second-class citizens. You're using a second-class citizen term.
I'm with you. That's why you on the show.
Shit.
That's why you here.
But shit, nigga. Damn.
But Kev, where the video?
Where the video? First of all, we already explained that in the Moors for Dummies video that we did back in the day. There's videos all on YouTube that you can go find where black doesn't mean. If you want to see it, go look it up in the Black's Law Dictionary. Go look that shit up for yourself, or the etymology dictionary that shows you black means pale or yellow.
So Kev, I'm with you, but there has to be an immersion in this information in order for us to speak, casually about it and get people up to speed. We can't just say, from henceforth, we will not refer to ourselves as black because, and then have a topic around something else. We have to first educate the people on why that's important. Now, your job is to drop that video.
Your job is to stop saying black.
Now, when you drop that video,
you need to stop saying black.
Kev,
you know you ain't black.
Kev, but for the sake of the conversation, bruh, there are a lot of people that don't know what you're talking about. Say, let me give you an example. For the sake of the conversation, the topic is about fear.
Yes.
And we're saying black because people who listen to the show see themselves as black.
I get that.
They have no idea of what you're talking about.
Right.
And they won't until they're educated on the perspective and the angle that you're coming from. Now, in this conversation, for the person that's just looking, this is a diversion for what the fuck they tuned in for.
Right.
Because it's not on topic for what they're talking about. I understand what you're saying, and I'm saying this show is always open for that topic. It's always open for that video. It's always open for that dissertation. However, today,
my point though is the fact that you guys are focused on black and white supremacy, and you're going back and forth. That's a distraction. I'm saying that is bullshit. It's a distraction from the shit that's really going on. So,
but they have to be educated. But they have to be educated on that.
But as we string these shows together, if we keep saying that, they will get it. But if we don't ever cop to that and keep saying black, they will constantly just keep going back in there.
All right, here's Dr.
Kevin, I got to take you on. You are so freaking smart, and you have a responsibility. When you are smart,
get the damn video.
No, when you're smart, you can't do anything that distracts from the smartness and causes people to react and miss the point. And
Boom.
so you have to bring them over, and if you hit them between the eyes, they're going to be too busy resisting. You're going to remind them of other people who talked over them or talked down to them, and they're going to miss how freaking intelligent you are. I'm not saying you have to roll over, but you.
But how am I doing that?
Zoe's sort of saying, what's happening is people are going to be reacting. What is he talking about? What is this dark versus black? And the point is, there's a deeper message. You have deeper messages, but you distract from people being able to get the benefit of it because you trigger reactions to some of the stuff you say and the way you say it.
That is the deeper message, though. That you don't understand. That is the deeper message. Black and white is a classical status in law. It literally is. It's not philosophical. It literally is. It means second and first class citizens.
We with you.
We with you, and we get that. The point that's being made here is that we have to educate people to the point where they can speak congruently with you. They're not on the same page. So since you're talking over their heads, you're going to turn more people off than on because, number one, fear is...
He's a dragon Moor.
Yeah.
He tries not to claim it, but that's what he is.
That's really what's going down.
I do not claim it.
Your sword
I'm both.
Right.
Dr. Boyce and then Bobby. Dr. Boyce and then Bobby.
Well, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have to get educated on why I shouldn't use the word black. I will.
We can sit down and talk about this all day.
I'm open to the brother's point of view. because we're all evolving, and I don't pretend to know everything. I only know what I think I know, or I only think I know what I know, or one of the two, But I would just generally say that, going back to this issue of fear, you had asked earlier about, how to sort of deal with, how to be fearless in a society that encourages fear. What has helped me a lot is number one. Fear is something that I think all of us feel every day on some level. I'm always scared of something, and what I learned how to do is kind of just feel the fear and do it anyway. I didn't come up with that saying; somebody else did. But it's almost like if you're in a car and fear's in the car with you, you can put the fear in the back seat or put it in the trunk. Just don't let fear drive the car. Don't let fear determine your actions, and I think you're okay. Sometimes you have to act courageously, even when you're scared to death. The second thing is I found that I was able to sort of gain access to a little bit of fearlessness, and almost a form of immortality, by linking myself to something bigger than myself. When I think about all the things that we preach on and talk about every single day about, for example, wealth building in the Black community, which I think is a very important part, a very important component of us developing the strength that we need to fight these issues. Everything comes down to money. America's a capitalist society. Things come down to money, concentration of wealth, institution development, not getting more jobs with white folks. That's not going to be
Wait. You just said something very powerful. Institution development. Please say more. Because for the people who are listening who may not know what that means, please go deeper.
Well, one good way to define it would be in terms of ownership and control. A lot of us, for example, are raised to believe that if you just go to school, get a good education, and you're well behaved, you'll get a good job, probably working for a white man, and you're going to be okay. And I think that that's selling yourself short. Because remember, if Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook, had that same mentality pressed into his brain, Facebook wouldn't exist. He'd be working for somebody making a couple $100,000 a year, thinking that he was as successful as he could possibly be. Instead, by owning something and by taking his talent and institutionalizing it, by building a business, building a structure around that, he's able to employ thousands of people. And he makes more money in a month than LeBron James will make in his whole entire life.
Wow.
And so a lot of times for all of us, we kind of dream the wrong dream. And I think that as a community, institution building is something that we lost during integration. Because
Damn
it.
God damn it.
That's that bullshit.
Listen, we got to take a quick break, and when we come back, the intellectual rant is going to have a slightly older voice. We'll be back at 2.2. The So What Morning Show is on fire today. Listen, wait. No donations for the Indiegogo campaign.
That's that bullshit.
You guys got to get to my Indiegogo campaign and look up Zoe Williams' new book, The Holographic Relationship, a deeper look into the spiritual meaning behind intimate relationships. Please continue to donate. We're only at 14%. We have less than a month left. Please support the movement. We'll be back in 2.2.
Solar children, there is no known record of the day that my life began. There will never be a record of the day that my life ended. I am the antivirus. When I was awake, you mistakenly called me the son of Osiris. You can see my real name written in the walls of the temple and pages of ancient papyrus. Follow me and I'ma lead you to freedom. You can always find God when you need him. Together we are unstoppable. Only the chosen can stand up against him.
And it's Mary Carey, of course, politically naughty with Mary Carey.
I'm always naughty. I'm always politically. My behavior is always politically naughty. I'm never politically correct. Dr. Drew, hi. Oh, I'm so.
Hey guys, how are you? It's all teary-eyed, Doctor.
I know. She wished she could live at rehab.
But only if Dr. Drew's there. Obviously, if someone like, because a little too groping might be inappropriate, but I like the flirting and stuff.
When I walked in, you shoved my head in your.
No! Are you gonna sue me?
Get politically naughty with Mary Carey. Mondays at 4 p.m.
Jason Stewart here for Zinna TV. On the show Absolutely Jason Stewart every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Big guests, everyone from the gayest to gay to the straightest to straight. David, what was his name?
He's absolutely Jason. He's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up.
What we do here is go back.
Hi, I'm Rob Schneider.
This is Slink Johnson, a.k.a. Black Jesus, b.k.a. Godzilla lungs.
Hello, I'm Aaron Roberts.
Yeah, what's up? This is Craig Wayans.
Hi, this is Brad Williams.
Hi, I'm Martha Madison.
What's good? It's your boy Marcus Parker.
And you're watching Z
Hollywood TV.
It's all about the propaganda for the proper gooses.
Here we go.
They just started the Democratic convention after last week's circus in Cleveland, and the distinction is in the difference, which there is none. We are always told historically, choose the lesser of two evils. Well, we've been backed into a corner now where that's just not going to work any longer, because when you look at the picture around the world, there's just chaos and madness on every level. And unless there's an emergence of leadership, and it's going to come from people's commonality, not their differences, and it's going to be organic. It's going to happen almost systemically. In other words, you're going to just notice people that are going to see that they got more in common. Because one thing I've learned in my lifetime, a man or woman convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. So the folks that's going to really make a difference, they're going to see that commonality, and then they're going to gravitate to it. As I mentioned earlier, I was with the great Jim Brown this weekend, and I talked to one of my other mentors, the great Jerry West, and we all have one thing in common. We want this country to be a better country and this world to be a better world. And we don't really have time to get into all of the other inefficiencies about what color somebody is and all that. It's how can we make our conditions better. Jerry's from West Virginia. You don't get no poorer than them white folks down there. So if we concentrate this issue on what color somebody is, we'll never get to the root cause of whoever gets in that White House. The people who really care about improving the quality of life have to understand it's about redirecting resources and doing it expeditiously. Because there's a transportation bill that's been sitting in Congress for the last 2 years that could have employed 4 million people, no matter what color you want to call them, that would have changed their lives. And it's still sitting there because they want to continue to distract us with this foolishness. And we've bought into it to the extent where we don't even know why we're fighting. It's about the lack of money for people to take care of their basic core needs. Because if you don't have food, clothing, shelter, all that other stuff ain't going to really matter. So the people that lead people have to be able to feed people. It has to be the new criteria for leadership.
Excellent rant, Bobby G. Listen, speaking of that, a lot of people reach out to me and ask me to promote their businesses, to the point where my emails have just overflowed. So I had to create I've created a new email just for small businesses who want to get some light, some promotion on this show. All you got to do is email me. I hope the product is dope. That's all I can say. I hope it's nice. It's got to be fly. It's got to be something amazing. My email address, listen very carefully, ZO, small biz promo @gmail.com. ZO, small biz, B-I-Z, promo, PROMO @gmail.com. You guys know for the past 4 years, I've been doing the Zoe What Morning Show, and I've been promoting black-owned businesses.
Right.
Often, I would say at least 99% of those businesses have been promoted for free.
I appreciate you putting the truth out there, though.
Oh, well,
this shit is dope.
That's good stuff. No, but I'm saying, if you want your business to be promoted here on the Community Empowerment, we call it the Cash Mob Monday segment, get at me, ZO, small biz promo @gmail.com. Back to the topic. Dr. Boyce, I know he has to run. His people told me he had a limited amount of time. Dr. Boyce, I want you to summarize, man. Is he gone? We lost him?
Man.
Wow. Look at Thor.
I want to say this real quick.
You going to say something else?
Yes. I did do a video breaking that down. If you go to my YouTube page, Real Nagas, it's the video is called Slavery, the State of Things, and it breaks down your whole status and why you are a slave and the word black.
For sure.
Hey, that's needed.
I want to spit something real quick, too.
Go ahead. You want to bust some rhymes?
No, I ain't going to do it.
Oh, okay, cool.
No. Freestyle?
You freestyling right now?
No,
all right, cool.
But no. Okay, fear, all right. America doesn't really have to look too far to see why certain individuals get radicalized. If you fuck somebody over with regularity, all of their lives, if you treat people like second-class citizens, whether you want to call them black or melaninated or however you make the distinction, There's a definite difference. And so instead of, talking to Dr. Watkins or Zoe Williams or anybody else about why do you think that person might have been pissed off enough to just start shooting motherfuckers? Why do you think that might have happened? In reality, you're ignoring the nose on your face if you can actually have to search for that. The truth is that you fuck people long enough and pressure bursts pipes or makes diamonds, one of the two.
Oh, that's such a great point.
Yep.
I have a friend. I have several friends who are Haitian. A lot of Haitian people look at African Americans a little bit diminished because we succumb to slavery where they fought it and won.
Mm-hmm. And invited all other slaves to come over there.
Right. So a lot of Haitians will look at African Americans, I'm going somewhere with this, as lightweight weak. Kind of weak. We got them up out of here. Voodoo. Right. We got them up out of here.
Pin in that damn.
Right. Now watch this. If you live in a society that has conditioned you to capitulate, and one of you breaks the conditioning, that's like somebody breaking out of that prison in life. You passed the gun line, boy. I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna get you. You done got past the gun line.
Get behind that line.
Do you understand? Do you see the irony? A group of people have been conditioned to capitulate, yet we fear them. Stop with the lies. You're not scared of us. You might be afraid that one of us might break the programming,
yes.
But you're not afraid of us.
Mm-mm.
You're afraid of us living where you live. You're afraid of us sharing the resources you share. You don't want us at Gelson's.
What?
Bristol Farms.
You don't want us in the same educational institutions you have. Let's just be honest.
Yep.
You don't want us at Bristol Farms?
No.
Go ahead.
Most people agree that a wounded animal is one of the most vicious ones and that's because when they're wounded they think the next thing's going to kill them, and so but a lot of people think a wounded animal is the most vicious. So if you take years and years of someone being put down and then beaten down, not just put down but beaten down, I've talked about this theme in prior shows. It sort of makes sense that people will project on you, well, if I was put down and beaten down continually, then I'd be wounded. And then if I was wounded enough so I didn't value anything, your life or my life, and I had nothing to lose, watch out. And so maybe there's been a cumulative effect of being wounded. And again, animals, when they get wounded, they become vicious, not because they're evil. They just think that the next thing's going to kill them. They got nothing to lose, and then they just go back. And maybe this is happening systemically.
Right. I've heard that America is a zoo for African Americans. Right? But the difference between America as a zoo and an actual zoo is that they're not trying to condition the animals mentally, psychologically. The animals are conditioned by their environment. Like, I'm in a cage. Yeah. This ain't Africa. These motherfuckers drop off meat chunks in that little hole over there. So they're conditioned that way. Right. But in America, the African American is conditioned psychologically. I always mention this. Do the research, Stanford University, on stereotype threat in the education system. Right? So my point is, do you know how strange it feels for other black men, African American men, to look up and go, a nigga shot somebody? Don't you know how that right. You know how that trickles around our neighborhood?
Yep.
What? They said the shooter was black. We always assume that the shooter is
white,
what?
Caucasian.
Because of how we've been conditioned. We never shocked when we see that the shooter's white, but we always shocked when we see that the shooter is black. Now you telling me, after how many 100 years of capitulation conditioning, that all of a sudden this generation said we popping off? And then you go back to their training, and the training came from the system?
Yep.
You just not finna make me believe that Mike Brown put his big ass in the police car and fought the cop to get the gun. We don't do that.
Thank you.
We haven't been
God
conditioned.
damn.
We've been conditioned to go the other way when
you.
Popo is in the building.
Oh my God.
Bobby?
Well, there's been some phenomenons, and always there's exceptions to every rule. When Ice-T came out with Cop Killer, that was a pivot, and then it was affirmed by subsequent videos and that whole gangster rap thing on one side. Then on the other side, you have white people going in the direction of what we call white people, the punk rock scene, and it got real dark, that grunge
Now
music.
you got Bobby worried about you with your white and black, or what we call.
I mean, right. You need to be. But I'm gonna elevate above all of that and say, none of this happens in a vacuum. Right. All right. While black people are being conditioned a certain way, or whatever you want to call them, those other folks are being conditioned the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it allows everybody to get robbed simultaneously, because we're overlooking the fact that the progression of violence in this country as a country has escalated simply because the money has been sucked out of the middle. The middle has shrunk to the point where you got too many folks without whatever color or disposition you want to put them into. It's too many folks doing without, and they acting like folks that have nothing to lose. Period.
Doc?
I think you just hit on something. When you get nothing to lose, and what happens is you reach a point where you don't value life. I mean, you just treat life as a thing, and if it's an object getting in the way of you, you just treat it like a thing. And I think what's happened is there's a conspiracy, I think, to just people don't care about humanity anymore. It's a squishy term. The humanity is being sucked out of the world, and when it's sucked out of the world, I won't even say it's devolution, because animals treat each other better and are more fair to each other than we are.
Wow.
And I think we've turned people into objects. And an object, if you're in my way, you're my enemy. I get a right to knock you down. And if you're my friend, well, I might temporarily like you until you're my enemy. And I think that's what's happened is when you become nothing, no thing, you become and nothing to lose. You just there's nothing to lose by killing someone.
Wow.
Excuse me. I just want to say that melanated people need to get on the same game they on. The branding game, because they'll brand you with a certain title or name, thug, or in the Dallas dude's case, to domestic terrorists. Immediately they went right to that. So you need to start labeling them and create a term that encompasses all the things that they do. So a couple of guys was hitting me with blue terrorist, because that's basically what they're doing. I mean, and it's not, it doesn't encompass every cop, but it encompasses the cops who are doing that thing. So when they do that act, you put that out there and it labels them as blue terrorists, because that's basically what they've labeled us. Or melanated
but that's
people
what I
in the
love
hood.
about Tariq Nasheed, when Tariq Nasheed explains, when he calls it the race soldiers, or I think that's the term that he uses. I like what the brother is doing in this space. When we talk about police officers, remember the stereotype of what the police officer is. Stereotypically, the police officer is the good guy. In the old Western, he wore the white hat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He had the white horse.
Right.
He was the good guy. So when we little kids, in our indoctrination that they call education, when we're little kids, I'm going right into the final thought right here. When we're little kids, what do you want to be? I want to be a doctor. Little girl, I want to be a nurse. Another little boy, I want to be a fireman. Another little kid, oh, I want to be a cop. It was a good thing. Mm-hmm. Listen, the reality of America is where there's money and power, there is corruption. And there is so much money and power tied up in being a police officer, you cannot walk into that occupation thinking that you will not be touched by some level of the corruption. Now, morality comes into play. I'm walking into a situation so I could take care of my kids and my family, or if I want kids in the family, I can have one and afford it, and send them to a good school, and great, I'm a cop. Now you walk into that situation and you see some evil and you don't report it, but yet you still call yourself a good cop. This is something that has to be dealt with. We already live in an imbalanced society. Number one, a police officer's life is more valuable than the criminal that he's pursuing. And if he so happens to kill the criminal, he shouldn't have run.
Or twitched.
Or twitched or farted or whatever. You saw the dude laying on the ground with both hands up and still get shot.
Right.
And the dude said, I don't know why I shot you.
So you telling me now, because I got family that are police, right? Everybody's on high alert. Everybody's looking for the dashiki.
Right. Yep. That's the new blue rag, red rag.
Do you understand? Yep. The new ISIS is Afrocentrism.
Yep.
African consciousness. It could be a sleeper cell of disgruntled black people.
Branding.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
What I'm telling everybody here and now, the So What Morning Show is about elevated consciousness, intellectualism. Oh shit! We got the young generation. Oh, there's too many words. I don't read. Listen. Let me explain something to you about living in this world. The smarter you are, the better reality you are capable of building. Right? They didn't teach you that the quality of your thought process determines the quality of your experience. Right. They haven't taught you that at Harvard. Well, maybe at Harvard. Maybe at Harvard. Maybe. Maybe at Yale somewhere they're going to give you that jewel. The quality of your thought process determines the quality of your experience. So if you got a low basic thought process, you're going to have a low basic mundane mediocre existence. How do you elevate it? How do you challenge the fear that was programmed into you? If you think about African Americans, there is nothing in America that African Americans haven't created out of a coping mechanism to deal with fear. Jazz came out of some coping shit. The blues is telling you shit ain't cool. Go. Shit ain't cool. Go. Gotta send the kid to school. Go. Do you understand? Everything we've done is born out of some fear-based coping mechanism. Hip-hop, just coming out of the Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas era of heroin in the Bronx. And fuck, we need something. Gangs blew up. Okay, we got to stop this. And then hip-hop is born out of everything you've done. You've done nothing from a space of fearlessness. Nothing has been accomplished from a space of fearlessness. We say, well, we ain't got nothing. Well, we got each other. And my mandate to black people, just for the sake of discussion, Kevin, right? My mandate for our folk is that we work with each other for a generation. We put aside our beefs. We put aside our differences. We put aside unforgiveness. We put aside crabs in a barrel. We put aside colorism. We put aside all of the competitive, angry bullshit we got for each other, the fear that we have of each other. We put all of that shit aside for a generation. And if shit ain't different, then we can say, well, we did that shit for a generation. That don't work. But understand this about knowledge. It takes one generation for scientists to accept new ideas. Einstein's ass created the theory of relativity, but because he was so enamored and in love with fucking Newton and the mechanistic model, he did not look at the new math that his invention opened the door for. He didn't look at the quantum math. Quantum mechanics was coming. Niels Bohr, all these guys, the uncertainty principle, everybody was coming with some shit. Max Planck was like, hey, you done did something. He wouldn't look. It took one generation for all scientists to go, shit, we're in the quantum world now. And even Einstein, close to his death, looked at the math and said, the shit is flawless. He had to capitulate, but he had no answers. Now, watch this. That's technology. Trauma heals in geological time. The time it takes a fucking river to carve through a mountain and create the Grand Canyon, motherfuckers are still harping on some shit that happened. We got to get to a space where we can heal in quantum time, not in geological time. Give us, I urge everybody that's listening today, give your family, give your community, give your cousins, your brothers, your everybody, give us a generation of collaboration, of cooperation, of unification, right? A generation, and let's see what we look like then. If we haven't done that, you cannot say violence is your last resort. Well, that's all we got. No, we have yet to master unity. Let's master unity first, and then if that shit don't work, then let's go strap up.
Thank you.
But if we ain't mastered unity, if we ain't mastered that, recycling black dollars, if we haven't mastered that, you cannot say that's your final result. This ain't Shaka Zulu. Motherfuckers ain't running around with motherfucking cowhide shields. This is a whole nother get down.
They will kill your ass fucking around.
So now, understand. I got a couple more minutes. Understand. Boxing has a term. Styles makes fights. You better recognize your fighting style.
Thank you. God damn it.
Huh? I don't want to hear this, I'm a man and I'm tough and I'm bad and I got all this. Hey, you better recognize your fucking fighting style. Sun Tzu, the art of war. The highest form of war is to be able to win one without having to fight it. Bruce Lee even said that shit. Oh, you just want to wear the karate shoes. You don't want the science behind why the nigga was dressed like that, huh? You just want the karate shoes and the gi. Nah, understand the philosophy. You can't tell me you're a warrior and you dumb, because the warrior had a code. The code made him respond and carry himself in a certain way. He wouldn't just kill anybody. Go get the samurai code. Have you ever read that book, by the way? That's a real book. He's not just going to randomly go get somebody. There's a code. Don't tell me you're a warrior and you don't read. Don't tell me you're a warrior, you're not cultured. Oh, this is our last resort. How many books you read? That's our sign. I could keep going, but shit, that's our sign. That's another show. I appreciate everybody for tuning in to the So What Morning Show. We had a great time. Truth, where can they find your CD?
CD Baby, Truth 124 at cdbaby.com. You can get it on iTunes. You can check me out on YouTube at Truth Artist /Activism.
Doc!
MarkGoldston.com, or go to Amazon and check out all my books. Bye.
Awesome. Kev?
RealNagas.com. Go ahead and cop the Dragon More shirts. Also, the YouTube channel Real Nagas, ReelNagas.
Hey, listen, I know a lot of... Oh, Bobby, go.
at Glanton Smith on Twitter, and you can get all of that. Change your water, change your life.
Hey, I know a lot of people had a difficult time tuning in today, but I expect everybody to go to that Indiegogo campaign, buy the book, buy the t-shirts, support. IamZoeWilliams.com. Indiegogo, the holographic relationship Zoe Williams. Please support the movement. We'll see you next week. Deuces.
Peace.
Worshiping the image of the beast. In this life there can be no peace until we learn to love ourselves. We will never get love from anybody else. Your Highness, you were kissed by the sun, and them haters can't stop.